If you're looking for mysticism that meets technology,
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. This is the avatar of Mahesh Chookolingo, but don't worry, it's still his voice, his research, his truth. I'm simply here to help him bring that truth to life. If you're curious about how something like this works, how you can use AI to bring your own voice, your message, or your podcast idea to life, feel free to DM us or reach out directly. We'd love to help you build your dream. Now, let's get into today's story. Something profound is happening in America right now. Not just politically, but spiritually. When I look around, I see pain, confusion, and a strange kind of awakening. The recent passing of Charlie Kirk has left a mark on the public consciousness, not because of who he was when he began, but because of who he was becoming. Charlie was known as a fierce conservative voice, bold, unapologetic, but what made his later years so meaningful wasn't his certainty, it was his evolution. As he traveled the country and met everyday Americans, something in him began to shift. He started to listen differently, to question differently. He began to see that leadership isn't about shouting your beliefs louder, it's about growing them deeper. He started to ask the questions that matter, about war, about suffering, about empathy. He began to wonder whether our strength as a nation might actually depend on how much compassion we're willing to have for one another. And in that, Charlie reflected a pattern as old as time, the same growth we saw in Malcolm X, in Martin Luther King Jr., even in Christ himself. Voices that started strong, defiant, certain, only to evolve into wisdom that transcended sides. And when that awakening began to bridge divides, the system, the machine, turned on them. Because the machine cannot survive human awakening. And that brings us here to a question much bigger than politics. America is not at war with itself. It's at war with its own reflection. The left and the right, two wings of the same eagle, have forgotten they belong to the same bird. The left lives in delusion. The right lives in denial. Both claim truth. Both avoid it. Delusion is believing something false with conviction. Denial is refusing to see something true even when it's right in front of you. And both forms of blindness are tearing the heart of this nation apart. The delusion of the left. Once upon a time, the left stood for free thought, rebellion, and compassion. Now it's fallen into emotional absolutism, where how something feels matters more than whether it's true. They tell us gender is an endless spectrum, yet reject the science that grounds us in nature. They preach tolerance, but cancel disagreement. They fight for equality, but build systems that reward dependency instead of growth. This isn't progress, it's paralysis. And in the name of compassion, they've built a culture afraid of truth itself. The denial of the right. But the right isn't innocent either. In its fight for freedom, it's slowly becoming the same system it once fought to overthrow. It now censors voices that ask questions, mocks anyone who dares to challenge the line, and justifies obedience as patriotism. Those who speak with nuance, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, or anyone who says, maybe there's more to the story, are branded as traitors. The denial here isn't in their love of America, it's in their blindness to how power changes everyone who touches it. They see the rot on the left, but can't see the reflection forming in their own mirror. And without empathy, even truth turns cruel. We are not a democracy, we are a constitutional republic. Let's get this straight. America is not a democracy, we are a democratic republic. That distinction matters because in a pure democracy, majority rules, even when the majority is wrong. But in a republic, principle rules. We are guided by law, protected by rights, accountable to truth. The founding fathers understood human nature. They built a system that would survive moments like this, when emotion tries to replace wisdom and outrage tries to replace accountability. That's why our Constitution begins with three sacred words: we the people, not we the politicians, not we the parties, we. We are the balance. We are the conscience. We are the forgotten fourth branch of government. And yes, we are to blame for where we are. But that also means we have the power to fix it. So maybe the way forward isn't to pick a side. Maybe it's to pick a standard, truth. Maybe what we need is the courage of the right and the compassion of the left without the shadows of either. Because truth doesn't belong to a party. It belongs to those who are brave enough to see. So I'll leave you with a few questions, not to argue but to awaken. Brief pause between each. Why do we fight so hard to be right instead of to understand? Would we still cheer if our side did what we blame the other for? When did outrage start feeling better than peace? If the news went silent for 1 week, what would we really believe? Who would we be if we stopped needing an enemy? We scroll, we shout, we cancel. But do we listen? America doesn't need more sides. It needs more souls awake. This is Mahesh Chookolingo, Kutiasties, or at least my digital reflection, reminding you that awareness is the only revolution that lasts. If this message resonated with you, share it. Start a conversation. And if you're curious about creating an AI avatar or podcast of your own, DM us. We can help you bring your vision to life. Until next time, stay curious, stay awake, and stay human.